This morning we are starting the special program with a dear friend of the ashram. This is Kumar, Tom Spector, who is sitting here. I'd like to give a very warm welcome to Kumar. Yes, Kumar has been coming for many, many years to the ashram, much before most of the people were born. So we're very, very grateful to have Kumar back at the ashram. He is starting today a special program titled Meditation, Healing, and Inner Peace. And we'd like to introduce Kumar, Tom Spector, PhD, began meditating in 1968 while enrolled in a highly selective, intense graduate program at Yale University. Meditation clarified issues and enabled him to complete the full doctoral program in 3 years. He has continued a daily meditation and yoga practice ever since, even when he worked as an international vice president for cancer research. Kumar enjoyed personal meditations with Swami Vishnudevanda and has studied under Ram Dass. He has been teaching meditation and healing since 1976 and authored our 2 gardens, How to Cultivate Healing, and produced a CD entitled Meditation and Healing. So this morning, Kumar, Tom Spector will begin this program, which will be including several workshops in the upcoming days. So let us give a very big hand to Kumar, Tom Spector.
It is so nice to see my old friends and my new friends and all my friends to be. We're all good friends, living in kindness, especially to ourselves. Never forget that. So it is by God's grace that we are here at the amazing Sivananda Yoga Retreat. Do you agree? Yeah. This place is so special. It is endowed with Sivananda's energy. When I first came here, I walked into the temple, and it was like a bolt of lightning hit me. Took my breath away, almost knocked me over, and it was Sivananda's energy. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate Swami Vishnu. He had incredible prana and creative energy. This place is here because of him. And I appreciate all the Swamis here, and the Swamis to be, and the staff for your amazing, selfless service. God bless you. And the guests. This place wouldn't exist without you, right? And my wife. Would you stand up, Gita? My wife? She warms my heart and makes me smile. So my workshop's going to start this afternoon, and we will go through meditation, and everybody who comes will be meditating. Even if you think you could never meditate, you will. And you'll be able to meditate on your own. We'll cover healing topics such as worry, stress, fear, pain, guilt. Not that any of us ever experienced those, right? But we'll deal with techniques that actually work. And today, we will become worry-free. How to become worry-free. Yeah. So, my talk this morning is about my work with seriously ill patients. And I'd like to begin, as Swami mentioned, that I started meditating when I was in graduate school. And then in the 1970s, I studied with Ram Dass. Do people know who Ram Dass is? Some of you do, yeah. I'll talk a little bit more about him this afternoon. But in 1976, I was at an intensive meditation retreat with Ram Dass. And it was a silent retreat, no eye contact. But you have a sense, when there's silence, other things come out. You have other abilities to sense people. And I knew that there was this little lady who always sat right behind me for meditation. I just knew she was there. And then the last day of the retreat, they allowed talking. And I felt someone tap me on the shoulder. And she said, "I've been wanting to get to know you better." And I turned around. I'll never be able to explain what happened. Experiences such as these cannot be explained in words. But it was like an explosion of white light. And we just fell together and hugged, and neither of us could talk. And I had the sense that I had known this lady forever. I mean forever. And then Ram Dass starts going up on the stage to talk, and we separate. And the only thing I ever said to this person was, "I think we know each other very well." And he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, you didn't know it, but we have a very special person at our seminar." He said, "Very seldom do I look at a human being and see pure white light. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet Elizabeth Kubler-Ross." Do people know who Elizabeth Kubler-Ross is? Some of you do, yeah. In the late 60s, early 70s, she was a pioneer that made people comfortable with death and dying. Previously, if somebody was dying, you did not talk about it. It was like a closet thing. But she described the stages of dying and brought it out into the open. And it was so helpful for so many people. In fact, her books are taught in every medical school in the United States. Very famous woman. And that was the woman who had just tapped me on the shoulder. I knew at that moment that I had work to do. I had karma with seriously ill patients. I mean, it was crystal clear. But what could I do? I could teach meditation. And I've been meditating for all these years. That's what I could do. I got home, opened the yellow book. Anybody know what the yellow book is? Open to a place of medical facilities, and I closed my eyes. I went, and I put my finger on the worst place in the world. It was terrible. But it was a rehab center, and it had the phone number, and I called him up, and I said, "Hi, I'm Tom. I teach meditation," which I hadn't previously, "and I was wondering if you have any patients there who would like to learn how to meditate." Now, this was 1976 in the South, in the United States. I mean, meditation, people were warning people about meditation, work of the devil. But the person said, her name was Wendy Palmatier. She said, "I'll ask around, and I'll call you back." And she called me back, and she said, "There are 5 people here who want to learn how to meditate." Talk about synchronicity. This place was not a good place. Activity directors such as Wendy lasted a week or 2 before they quit. Wendy was gone. It was sort of a miracle that I called and she answered the phone. And so I started. I'd like to mention that if you're thinking of doing any service work or anything where you feel a calling, and you think that you really have to wait until you're a little more enlightened, don't wait. Start. Believe me, I started at a very low level. You are protected by the purity of your motivation. So check your motivation. If it feels right, jump in. Now, I remember going to the door of that place. My shoulders were up around my ears. I was frightened. This was not within my comfort zone at all. I thought I could turn around, get in my car, and leave, and nobody would know. But the pull from the experience with Elizabeth brought me through that door, and I started. And I learned a lot along the way. Now, some people have asked me, doesn't this work wear you down? Isn't it difficult? And the answer is no. It's uplifting. And the reason that it's uplifting is because I believe we come to Earth with all our issues. And we're here to heal. And healing is the process of working through all the issues that separate our superficial self from our inner being. That place inside of us, which is permanent. Our soul, our Atman, that part of us that was created in God's image. It's right inside of us. And I believe that my faith in our inner beings is part of me. And in some way, it helps people who I see connect with that part in me. And one day, it happened. I saw it. I was with a group of patients, and there were 8 of them in a semicircle. Most of them were in wheelchairs. They were missing arms, legs, blind. they really enjoyed me reading a passage from the New Testament, which I did. And after that, I would ask them if they'd like to meditate, and they all did. And we started meditating. And something told me to open my eyes. And when I did, I was above my body. And I looked out, and I can see all 8 of the people above their bodies. And what I saw were whole, beautiful, healthy beings. It was a connection to their souls. It was uplifting. The work for me is uplifting. So I saw patients at that facility for about 5 years. And now I see cancer patients on Wednesday morning. Let me see if I can hook this on so I don't have to hold it. Did I knock something over? Oh, okay. At the Duke Cancer Center. And I've learned about some things that don't work and some things that do work when you're visiting a seriously ill patient. And these patients have many visitors, some of whom are really incredible. I got to experience many love stories, patients and their caregivers. But some visitors are not so helpful. And I have a list of these people. I've given them names in my book that's available in the boutique. But I'd like to talk about 2 of them to start. One of them I call Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple sees the patient and says, "Don't be silly. Of course you're going to be okay. Of course you're going to get better." Now, what if the patient knows that's not true? What kind of a visit are they going to have, right? The other one is Miss Pity Pat. "Oh, you poor thing. This is so terrible. Imagine if you're sitting there and you don't feel like you're such a poor thing." You know, if it feels right, sometimes I'll ask a patient, "Has something positive happened to you that would not have happened if you weren't going through this?" And they light up. They say, "You know, I usually don't talk about this. People will think I'm crazy. But the experience has been amazing. I have found out how lovable I am. And I had no idea. And now I know what's important in life. And it has nothing to do with what I used to think was important." Yes. See, life is a continuum. We go through our karma. And faith in God means that what is happening right now is part of God's plan. And God is good. In the middle of adversity, always look for the important lesson that you have to learn. And the gift. There's always a gift. So what works? Well, the first thing I do is make sure that I don't bring any of my stuff into my meetings with people. So what I do, it's an exercise, and I'd like to invite you to join me in this exercise. If you sit up straight and close your eyes, take a breath in and gather up within you all your stuff without any judgments, just all your stuff. And as you exhale, exhale out through the very top of your head and release all the stuff in you, all your needs, all your things that you carry. Just become free of them for a little while. Let them all go. Do it again. Taking a breath, gather it up, and breathe it out, top of your head. Open your eyes. So when I approach a patient, I'm bringing no needs of my own. And people sense that immediately. Many times people will very quickly open up and tell me what's going on with them. I'll give you a couple of examples. One person, David, he said, "Tom, I'm going to tell you something that I have never, ever told anyone." He said, "I was seriously wounded in Vietnam." And this was a long time from that experience to the time I met him. He said, "During surgery, I died. And I went to this place." He says, "Tom, I'm going to tell you two things. Number one, I knew I had been there many times before." Now here's a black man in the South, a Baptist, telling me about reincarnation. It was an authentic experience for him. And he said, number two, dying, piece of cake, nothing to it. He said, I saw 3 other soldiers who were killed in action that day, and they looked whole and happy and healthy. He said, I could have stayed there forever, but all of a sudden I felt really intense pressure to make a decision. And I decided to come back, even though I knew I was coming back to a mutilated body. I had unfinished work on earth. And I am so happy that he did come back, because just being with this person was a privilege. Here's a man who had no fear of death, and nothing bothered him. He was just so much fun to be with, pure pleasure. Another person, almost all the time when I meet someone, I have ways of engaging and starting conversation. You know, I introduce myself and hi, you know, wow. You know what this rain is? It's prana coming down. But for some reason, can you still hear me? Some reason I saw this couple, and I've never done this before, but I walked up to them and I said, "Can I get you something to drink?" And the man who was the patient said, "Yes, I'd like some ice water." And his wife said, "Yes, I would like a cola." So I got the drinks and I gave the man his ice water, and I gave the woman the cola, and I was opening it up for her, and the man said, "I'm terminal." Wow. Wash away all my sins. I looked at the man because I thought I heard him say, "I'm terminal." And he looked at me and he said, "I'm terminal." He said, "Jesus Christ came into my body and told me I'm terminal." I said, "Are you relieved?" He said, "Yes, I am so relieved." He had a stage 4 disease that his twin brother had recently died from. They were both in Vietnam and got exposed to Agent Orange. God came to him and told him, "It's time to stop your treatments and seek whatever you need to be comfortable." This happens. Sometimes the treatments for cancer are very difficult. And God, by God's grace, he knew it was time to stop. There were tears of happiness coming down his face. And he said, "I'm not a smart man. I don't know how to explain the experience." And I said, "These experiences cannot be explained in words. But God spoke to you in a way that you could understand." Look inside and see if there's something inside of you that you would like God to wash away. Because it's happening right now. Something that you're holding that you no longer need. some self-criticism. Let it wash away right now. What else works? What else do I do? Let's do the exercise again. Sitting up, breathing in, and releasing all your stuff. And now, when you breathe back in, breathe in through the top of your head and take God inside of you. Ask God to allow you to be a vessel for God's kindness, God's love, and God's wisdom. Breathe it right inside of you, right into that place inside of you that is your inner being, your heart center. And breathe out through your heart center. So when you're meeting people, you are coming from your heart center and connecting with them. In the very center of your being is your source of unconditional love. You are the essence of love and light. Oh, happy day. Wow. Some of you must still be holding. Let it go. We don't need the roof to come in to clean us. Let it go. Get the message. God gives us messages. Listen to them. Don't require a bigger message. Deep down inside of us, we are love, light, and compassion. And this part inside of us is permanent. It will exist after our bodies stop breathing. Life is a continuum. And I'd like to talk a little bit about compassion. Compassion is the ability to be with someone, to connect with them right where they are at this very moment, to accept them and value them just as they are. Compassion is very powerful. I'd like to give you a couple examples. One young woman, I met her as she was in the clinic. She had to take this medicine that stimulated her white blood cells because they were low. And she could self-inject, but if she did it at her home, which would have been nice and convenient, her insurance would not have covered it. So she had to come into the clinic, but then she did it herself. Her name was Laura. And I was standing next to Laura, very close to her, as she was doing this. She did 2 injections in one thigh and 2 injections in the other thigh. I did nothing except be with her. Compassion. Said nothing. Introduced myself. Was with her when she did this. 2 weeks later, she came back to the clinic and she saw me. She came running up to me and she threw her arms around me. Big hug. The power of compassion. The ability to be with someone exactly as they are right now. Teresa. When I saw Teresa, she was very gnarled. She said, I don't have cancer. She said, I have arthritis. I've had arthritis for 29 years, and it only gets worse. The doctors hate me. I'm their failure. If I need a new surgery, it takes forever to convince them. If I need more pain medicine, they don't believe me. They don't like me. She said, you know, I wish I did have cancer, because either I'd get better or I would die. Now that might not be true, but this is what Teresa felt. And I said, Teresa, can I hold your hand? And she said, yes. I invite you to close your eyes, extend your hand, and imagine that someone is holding your hand. And they are with you right now. And they are connecting you. It's like you could feel their soul and your soul connecting. And they are accepting you and valuing you. And you can feel that coming through their hand into your heart. And you are giving it back. You are accepting that person, valuing that person. And you are two souls coming together in time. Two souls walking each other home. We opened our eyes. She looked at me. She said, "Thank you. Thank you so much." All I did was be with her. The power of compassion. The power of compassion. I'd like to end my talk on a little lighter note. Many times when I visit with patients, we get into some very meaningful, important conversations. And I get a lot of appreciation, a lot of thanks, a lot of hugs. But one day I was talking to this couple, and we had a nice, important, it was profound. Stuff came up, we talked about it. And their pager went off, which meant that they were being called in. One of them was going to get treatment. And we stood up. And the man, he put his arm around me. And he said, "Tom, your fly is open." The hazards of old age. You know the problem with old age? It comes at such a bad time in our lives. I'll answer questions if people have any questions. Yeah. Just raise your hand and they'll bring a microphone over to you.
Well, we're going to have to finish just with the time. We're going to need to finish now.
Okay.
But maybe in the workshops.
All right. If you have questions, come to my workshop. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I'd like to thank again very much Kumar Tom Spector for this beautiful teaching this morning. Let's give him another very big hand. And today at 12 he will start a series of workshops on meditation, healing and peace. So highly recommended here on the Garden platform at 12 o'clock. So now we'll go over the rest of the schedule for today. This morning.